So, having spent many hours in the Windy Wharf, spending most of their money getting rather drunk, they finally got the message from Grisby, damn fool, that they had to be on their way. They had to take to Nevom the casket that they had already retrieved from the dungeon, because he wanted it where he lived, not at the Windy Wharf where they expected to meet him. So off they set into the first winding path of the dark forest ahead of them, moving quietly through the bushes and undergrowth. Then they espied a forest path, long overgrown, leading deeper into the forest. But then all of a sudden, there was a terrible accident with the winds of magic, and Faroth had made some terrible mistake, and spiders appeared. Lots of spiders that entangled all of our heroes. Every one of them was entangled immediately by the spiders. Gwendgoth and Azzraella completely captured. Unfortunately, however, Blackhead Bill and Faroth managed to break out and defend their compatriots against the spiders, killing several. Then things took rather a bad turn for the worst, since Blackhead Bill, in his usual rough, over-the-top manner, managed to shout and bawl as he was killing a few spiders, and as a result created another event, another group of wandering monsters, and these suddenly appeared along with the one that already had been thrown by Faroth, creating a huge number of monsters, spiders, and beastmen, or bestigors I should say. Faroth cast his lightning spell, and damaged one of the gore, but only for 8 points. They were standing at the back end of the corridor, or rather the forest path, throwing rather large spears at our heroes and damaging them quite badly. It wasn't a good situation. Neither Azzraella nor Gwendgoth had managed to shake off the effects of the very first spiders that attacked them, as they were trapped in a sticky web. Faroth spent his time both swinging his blade and at the same time trying very, very carefully to heal his compatriots. He yet again cast his magical spell at the second of the two bestigor, and had worse results the second time, to be honest with you. But however, Blackhead Bill wove her way through and destroyed many of the spiders in front of him. Eventually he came down to just the very last couple of bestigor, and as you can see, Azzraella and Gwendgoth had freed themselves at this point. Faroth decided to hide behind Blackhead Bill in order to make sure that he was not in any danger of being shot at, or thrown a spear at, I should say, by bestigor. And with the help of Blackhead Bill, Faroth and Gwendgoth and Azzraella destroyed the last two of the bestigor. Then we move on. We're a bit of a jump here. We've got to take a photograph. Anyway, and we're in the next room. We're in a King's Glade, and in the King's Glade immediately our trooper were attacked by a group of gore, who are also armed with spears. So in order to minimize the number of attacks they can get off on the group, they all charged into combat, including Faroth. Faroth cast a confused spell on the gore in front of him. Azzraella destroyed the first of all one gore, but then unfortunately Faroth threw a 1 for magic, and an ungore appeared behind them in an ambush. Faroth healed both himself, I believe it was, and possibly Gwendgoth at that time, whilst the rest of the troop destroyed the rest of the gore. Blackhead Bill turning himself round and attacking the young gore from behind. Faroth still holding 1 of the gore confused and unable to do anything, while Azzraella helped Blackhead Bill to kill the rest of the Ungor from the rear. Finally, they all rounded on that last poor Gore and dispatched him without too much trouble at all. They moved on deeper into the overgrown trail that they knew they must follow in order to find the keep castle of Nevom. Faroth took this opportunity to heal his compatriots, casting healing hand spell so that they all received 1 or 2 spell points of hit points back. On they went, further into the forest. Deeper and deeper. Winding this way and that amongst the bushes and overgrown trees, but only too pleased not to have seen any more spiders. However, I spoke too soon, for in the next room, the lost glade, spiders seemed to pour out of the very woods before them, but they were no match for our heroes and were easily dispatched, unlike the earlier group. So pushing on through the forest path, our heroes went on. Here they were confronted in another glade by... well, I'm not too sure what happened there exactly. I think possibly with a trap. I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll carry on. On went the adventurers on a winding path through, closer and closer to Nevom's keep. Pushing aside branches, slashing at overhanging trees, always wary for snakes and other creatures of the woods. They carried on their way. And eventually they came to the very place they were looking for, which was, of course, the Wild Heath. They could see the water pouring from a beautiful pond in the very middle, and they knew that this was probably exactly where Nevom's castle keep was going to be. But they weren't quite sure, and eventually, well, immediately they were attacked by a giant spider. Faroth let off, if you pardon the expression, a lightning bolt. And at the same time, poor Gwendgoth fell down a huge pit that had opened up in front of him. At that point, there was a terrible storm. It raged, blew the trees around him as if it was almost a magical storm. Faroth could not believe it. Blackhead Bill couldn't see to get poor Gwendgoth out of the hole, and the spider was attacking, but was eventually killed. Reaching his hand down, Blackhead pulled Gwendgoth out of the hole, and then they marched on to the well itself. They searched around, not at first being able to see anything. Difficult to imagine, isn't it? But I think it was perhaps the darkness that obscured the castle keep from them, because it's something as large as that, really, you must be able to see it, I would have thought. Anyway, after much searching and looking around, and spending time thinking what they should do next, there they are. This is them thinking very hard, thinking about what they should do, why there was an extra photograph here, and yet, yes, and the sun came out. Perhaps that's what they were waiting for. Perhaps they were waiting for the sun to come out. Who can tell? Indeed. There before them was Nevom's keep. Obviously Nevom's keep, because it was the only one in the area. But all the same, they decided they'd better make sure, so they went up to the door and knocked. And they knocked again. And they knocked a third time, and there was no answer, but the door slowly swung open. So this was not the end of this adventure. Perhaps they had to go inside. Nobody was coming to meet them. Well, let's hope it all works out well for them, and we'll find out in the next episode. If you've enjoyed listening to this, I've been Daxiom, and press the like button. Press the like button. Press the like button.